Welcome to a year of HitchcockMovies.com. We are your hosts, Jeff and Diane, and this is movie number 4, 1928's silent comedy, The Farmer's Wife. Yes, I said comedy, and it's important to remember that when you're watching it. With the successful release of The Ring, which was Hitchcock's first release for British International Pictures, and the great press that it got in the British trade magazines, Hitchcock began his next assignment with great excitement, which was this stage play, this very, very successful stage play called The Farmer's Wife. I think I read somewhere that this play had something like 1,400 performances in London. That's probably pretty good. That's a lot then, and that's a lot now. It's also important to note that this was an assignment from his new bosses at British International Pictures. And this is what they did. They really just bought plays, they bought things that were successful and said, here, film it. And definitely the idea was to capitalize off the success of this play. And the play itself was based on a book written in 1913 by Eden Phillpotts. Eden Phillpotts wrote a number of novels, was good friends with Agatha Christie, just to give him some context of time and place. And the play itself had lots and lots of dialogue, so we'll talk about that in a second. Just wanted to give a little bit of background again. There are 3 main characters in this movie. Number 1 is the farmer. He is played by Jameson Thomas. Jameson Thomas he was in a number of silent films. He was in lots of silent films and was in some sound films as well. Notably, he was in It Happened One Night, an excellent movie from 1934, won Best Picture. So he certainly wasn't completely unknown. The second main character is the housekeeper, played by Lillian Hall Davis. Now, we all remember her from The Ring. For those of you who didn't see our review of The Ring, she was Hitchcock's favorite leading lady for a little while, and she did not make a good transition to sound films. Her career ended very quickly when sound films came along, and she suffered from Great Depression, and she actually ended up killing herself in 1934. And thirdly, we have the handyman on the farm, played by Gordon Harker, who was also in The Ring. He was pretty funny in that, and he's in this movie purely for comic relief. So, a quick synopsis of the movie. The farmer's wife is dying, and she dies. So we're very sad. Some time passes, and the farmer marries off his daughter. Seems to be his only daughter or last child, and they have a big party, they have a big dinner, everybody's having fun. The new wedded couple drives off into the sunset covered in confetti, and all the guests at the party leave his house, and he's sad. He realizes he's all alone, and he sort of sets out to find a new wife. There are 3 eligible ladies, single ladies, that he has his eye on. And so he sets out to work on them, and there we have the rest of the movie. Now, there's no cameo to look for in this Hitchcock movie, and I wonder if maybe he just thought it might have been silly to be in this kind of a period piece. The book was written in 1916, so it was a bit old-fashioned. The play was old-fashioned at the time, this successful play. So maybe he thought it might be silly for him to dress up, and I don't know why he's not in it. Now, Hitchcock called it was like filming the play. But it's so much more than that. He was using very unique and very innovative camera techniques in this movie to bring the viewer into the middle of the action. I mean, he filmed this thing like it's a thriller, and it's not a thriller. If you're filming a play, you're going to just have the play happening, and you're going to have a camera and say, roll them, and that's it. You're going to have actors talking this way. You know, you're the audience, we're the actors. Victoria, you're a horrible slut. and you're going to have this. Well, that's not what this movie is, and you need to pay close attention to that. We also saw it in The Ring, not a play, but you're right in the middle. It's like he puts the camera on the stage. This was pretty cool. It's the difference between being a voyeur, like you're seeing something you shouldn't be, like in Rear Window we're going to see, and in those instances, yeah, he keeps the camera steady and you're watching the action like, oh, I shouldn't be seeing this. But this, I mean, you've got the actors walking towards you, you see their reactions, they're looking right at the camera, and believe me, that was unique. So that's something to look for. With this, in filming this play, Hitchcock actually said, in an interview many years later, he said, I don't remember much about this movie, filming this movie, but just to quote him, it said, it stimulated my wish to express myself in purely cinematic terms, because he just couldn't use all this dialogue, this 2 hours of dialogue, and we're sure glad he did. Equally important with what we're about to see is doing this movie allowed him to develop his use of comedy and comedic timing. And timing, of course, is everything in comedy. And humor is an essential part of practically every Hitchcock thriller, all of them. I mean, we think of funny scenes in North by Northwest or Vertigo or Notorious. Except maybe Notorious. Oh, it's got Cary Grant in it. Yeah, certainly in the beginning. 39 Steps leaps to my mind. And this is not the last time that Hitchcock will attempt pure comedy. He does it again in 1941's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and he does it again in 1955, The Trouble with Harry. Very funny movie, The Trouble with Harry. So, this is not crazy talk that we've got this comedy on our hands. So yeah, a comedy. Dating 100 years ago. Because the book was written almost 100 years ago. The movie itself is 83 years old. No singles bars, no internet dating, no telephones, no texting. How did they do it? Well, let's find out. So from 1928, movie number 4, The Farmer's Wife. Let's watch.